Hi guys, back again, ready to do some telling time with hours and minutes, also talking about AM and PM. Now, we've been talking about this during our daily math, so if it's morning, tell me, is it AM or PM? I hope you said AM, which means in Latin antemeridian, which is before noon. And then when it's in the afternoon, it's PM or post-meridian. Looking at this clock, can you tell me what time it says? I hope you said 6:30. But the only thing about an analog clock is by looking at this, we can't tell if it's AM or PM. So that makes a big difference to us, doesn't it? Because if I say, what time do you eat supper? Well, you're not going to eat supper at 6:30 AM, are you? And if I say, what time are you going to get up? I hope you're not getting up at 6:30 PM. I know things are wild, but I hope they're not that wild. So this would be 6:30 AM if we were getting up maybe, and it might be 6:30 PM if I'm talking about supper time. Now remember the other thing I said about time. We said 6:30, or we could say 6:30, or we could also say 30 minutes before 7. All these things would be the same time. Now, let me change this. What if I have this time? What time would you say it is? Remember, it's past this, but not quite up to this number yet. So you have to be careful. I hope you said 8:45 because it is past the 8, but not quite. See, our hour hand here is not quite onto the 9. And then our minute hand is over here. Sorry, I'm having difficulties here. Our minute hand is on the 9 or 45 minutes. So you could say 8:45, 45 minutes past 8, 15 minutes till 9, or a quarter till 9. Any of those would work out perfectly. Now, what if I said, I started a project at 8:45 and it took me 15 minutes. 5, 10, 15. So if I started at 8:45 and it took me 15 minutes, what time did I end? 9 o'clock. Okay? We're going to be talking about duration of time in minutes and in hours. Okay? Let me write this down here. So say I started at 8:30, back to where we started, and we're going to say 8:30 AM, like we used to start our old skills lessons. If we started at 8:30 AM and I gave you a 20-minute time period to do an assignment, what time would I say you had to be done? Well, I could just come over here and take the 8:30 and add the 20 minutes. And that would be 8:50 AM. And again, remember your units are very important to have. It's important to have AM or PM. Remember what we just talked about. If I drew a clock real quick, and I started out with my minute hand on the 6 because that is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That's 30 past. And I want to go 20 minutes. 5, 10, 15, 20. So I know that I'm coming up here to the 10. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So again, I get my 8:50. Couple different ways to do that, okay? But what if we're talking hours? And I said at 2:33 PM, I was going to go outside and play. Now, you might not want to on this day like today because it's raining, but your mom said, I'll give you 2 hours to go out. What time would you have to come in? Well, I'm not worried about the minutes because I'm just dealing in hours. So I can bring my minutes over here. And if I add 2 plus the 2, that kind of looks like a times the way I wrote it. Let me do this differently. Plus the 2, that would be 4:33. Let's look at it on the clock. Whoop. Let's look at it on the clock. This would be 2:33. Now, if I want to add 2 hours, I have to make sure that my clock hand or my hour hand goes past 2 numbers. So there would be 1. There would be a full rotation of 2. And what time is it? 4:33. 4:33. Good. But what if I said, I'm going to start my activity at 8:30 a.m. and I'm going to go for 6 hours. 6 hours. Well, if I add 8 plus 6, I'm going to get 14. Well, there's no 14 on the clock, is there? No, there's not. Look, it goes up to 12. But if I know it, I'm going to go to 14. If I go to the 12 plus another 1, 2, then I know that it would be 2:30. But now it's not going to be a.m. anymore because I've gone past my noon. It's now going to be 2:30 p.m. Military time does everything from 1 to 24, okay? Anything past 12 is going to be p.m. The 1 through 11:59 is a.m. Well, the 12:01. That's another way of keeping track of that too. But what if we're going to talk hours and minutes? Well, here, let's do an example first. In our book, I'm on page 115. In our book, how many minutes are there from 115 to 142? Okay? Remember, I don't want you writing in your book. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do it on my little clock I'm creating, or on a sheet of paper you have or something, but not in your book, please. And if I'm going from 115 to 142, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 42. So I'm going to there. So I'm going to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. That's 25, 26, 27, because I've added 2 minutes. So that is 27 minutes that I've gone from 115 going to 142. Okay? Let's look at another example. How many hours are there from 3:18 p.m. to 8:18 p.m.? Well, this time we're just dealing with hours. So if we're going from 3 to the 8, I'm starting at the 3. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours because I haven't changed anything. Okay? But now let's say if I'm going from 9:15 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Let's give myself a little number line. So 9:15, what would 1 hour be past 9:15? Hope you said 10, so that's 1 hour. Another hour, that's 11:15. Now I can't go another hour because that would be 12:15, and I'm only trying to get to 11:30. So now I need to know how many minutes are between 11:30 and 11:15. Well, I can take that 30 minus the 15. We'll put a little hump because that's not a big hill. That's 15 minutes. So that's 1 hour, 2 hours, and 15 minutes. Major, hours, minutes. Let's try another problem like that. Okay. What if we're going, though, from 10:30 a.m. to 2:17 p.m.? Okay. Again, I'm going to start. Here's 10:30. Remember, it's a.m. What's an hour past that? 11:30. An hour past that? 12:30. An hour past that? 1:30. So far, so good, right? But can I go to 2:30? No, because 2:30 would be too far. But I could do a half hour. A half hour would take me to 2 p.m. That's 30 minutes. And then from 2 to 2:17 is another 17 minutes. So how far is that altogether? 1, 2, 3 hours. My 30 plus my 17. 3 hours and 47 minutes. Let's try another one in the book, shall we? As I lose my clock here. I'm going to sit my clock down so it doesn't fall. Okay. Here's a good one. Let's go from, how long is it from 10:45 a.m. to 1:15 p.m.? They have clocks here that you can use, but I like the timeline. Oh, and I said 11. That's 1:15. Okay. Here's my timeline. 10:45 a.m. What's an hour past that? 11:45 a.m. There's 1 hour. What's an hour past that? 12:45. Now it's p.m. though. Be careful. 1 hour. I can't go to 1:45 because that says 1:15. I could take the little jump to 1 p.m. That's only 15 minutes. And then 1:15 p.m. That's another 15 minutes. So I count 1 hour, 2 hours, 15 plus 15 is 30. 30 minutes. Okay, guys, tonight your homework will be pages 125 and 126 in the math workbook. Please remember, you can email me at any time with questions. Hope you're all well. Take care. Bye.